Hello and welcome to Maths by SAS. This is my second lesson of PTB class 9 science groups book, and the topic is the midpoint formula in coordinate geometry exercise 9.3, and the lesson is equally important for my O-level students as well. So both PTB students and O-level students can get benefit from these lessons, and please watch and understand the complete lesson for better understanding of the next lesson, and don't go anywhere during the lesson, because if you will be missing any part of the lesson, you will not be able to understand important concepts of the lesson. During the lesson, I will be giving you the tips and tricks how to secure full marks for such concepts. For PTB students, these questions can come in the long and short questions, and for O-level students, these questions can come in their paper 1 where calculator is not allowed. So let's begin the class with question number 2. And students, I hope you remember this very well, that reading and understanding of question is really important. Question 2 says, the endpoint P of the line segment PQ is -3 and 6, and its midpoint is 5 and 8. Find the coordinates of the endpoint Q. Okay, let's try to understand the question. That we have a line segment PQ, and one of the coordinates, one of the starting point is given, that is -3 and 6, and the value of midpoint is given, that is 5 and 8, and we have to find the coordinates of the other point, other end point. Now what to do and how to do? We know that midpoint formula is, what is the formula? That midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 over 2 comma y1 plus y2 over 2. That means that the x coordinate of the midpoint is the average of x values of the given points, and y coordinate of the midpoint is the average of the y values of both the points. For better understanding, if we are writing x1 y1 here, x1 y1 at this place, this is x2 and y2, and m will have the coordinates x and y, x and y. And now try to understand that x is the midpoint, and that is the 5, value 5. So this 5 will be equated by the average of the x coordinates of both the points. So what we are going to do is that the midpoint m is as the midpoint m x y is m 5 and 8, 5 and 8, and we are supposing the coordinates of the other point as x2 and y2, and the first point will have the coordinates x1 and y1. Now this 5 will be equated, students, by what? This is the x value, this is the x value of the midpoint. So it has to be equated with, first let me write on the formula at the top, x equals to x1 plus x2 over 2, and now x is 5 and x1 is -3 plus x2 is we do not know, upon 2. Now go for cross multiplication, and 5 times 2 -3 plus x2, 10 equals to -3 plus x2, and shift 3 to other side. Do not forget the role of integers and how to solve simple linear equation. This is 13 equals to x2, or x2 equals to 13, and then same for y, that y will be equal to what? According to formula, that is y1 plus y2 by 2. Now y has the value 8 and y1 is 6 plus y2 we do not know upon 2. Okay, 2 times 8, 8 times 2 or 2 times 8. Command on tables is compulsory. 16 equals to 6 plus y2. How to solve simple linear equations? I am repeatedly telling you the concepts involved here. This is 10 y2. So, the coordinates of the other point q, x2 and y2 are 13 and 10. 13 and 10. Really easy question, really interesting question. I can write the value over here as well, that q has a value 13 and 10. O level students, this is also important for you. So, do not forget to watch and understand this lesson. And moving to the next question, let me open the books to read and confirm the question. I always advise it to my students to confirm the question before solution. Question 5. Question 5 says, show that the diagonals of the parallelogram having the vertices, parallelogram having the vertices A12, B42, C is minus 1, minus 3 and D is minus 4 and minus 3 bisect each other. Bisect each other. Here we have to understand that what are the diagonals, and what is the meaning of the term bisect. Diagonal is the distance from one corner to the opposite corner. Like we have two diagonals with us, that AC diagonal and DB diagonal. And another thing is that what is the meaning of the word bisection? Recall the word bisector, perpendicular bisector and angle bisector. Always relate your concepts with the other learned concepts, so that learning becomes easy. The role of the bisector is to divide something into equal halves, and when we are dividing something into equal halves, it means that diagonals are meeting each other at midpoint. So, students, I hope you are clear that we have to find the midpoint of the diagonal AC and midpoint of the diagonal BD, and we have to check whether both the diagonals are cutting or meeting each other at the same point or not. So, let us begin the solution of this question, and it is really important to support your working with statements. So, let us begin with the diagonal AC. Let mxy or m1 xy be the midpoint of diagonal. Which diagonal, student? Midpoint, let me see, m1 x1 be the midpoint of the diagonal AC. Diagonal AC. For better understanding, it's good to draw a small figure here. Now, A has the coordinates 1 and 2 and C has the coordinates, let me reconfirm, C is minus 1, minus 3, minus 1, minus 3 and mxy, m1 xy. Okay. Now, what we have to do is that we know the formula for the midpoint, that x coordinate will be equal to, or the average of the x values of both the points, This is okay. Now, what I have to do is, first let me write down the formula, that this will be equal to x1 plus x2 over 2. x1 is 1 minus 1 over 2, which is equal to 0 by 2, and this is equal to 0. And y will be equal to y1 plus y2 over 2. And now let me see, y1 is 2 here, y1 is 2 and y2 is minus 3. 2 minus 3 by 2, which is equal to minus 1 by 2, which is equal to minus 0.5, or let it be minus 1 by 2, it is your choice. So, the coordinates of m1 xy, or the midpoint of the diagonal AC, midpoint of the diagonal AC is 0 and minus 1 by 2, and this is midpoint of diagonal, which diagonal, students? Diagonal AC, and let it be 1. Let this be 1. Always support your working with some reasons and logics. And now what we have to do, we have to find the midpoint of the diagonal BD. Again we are supposing that M2 xy be the midpoint of what? Be the midpoint of diagonal. Which diagonal, students? Diagonal BD. Again draw the small figure here. No need for going such large diagrams, just supporting your working with statement, reasons and diagrams. BD is 4 and 2, B is 4 and 2, and D is minus 4 minus 3. Let me confirm the data. B is positive 4 and 2 and D is minus 4 and 3. Again we have to suppose, as we have selected M1 for that, so M2 xy. So M2 xy be the midpoint of the diagonal BD. So what I have to do, I have to find B has the coordinates. B has the coordinates. What are the coordinates? 4 and 2, and D has the coordinates minus 4, minus 4 and 3, minus 3. Okay, so again the formula will remain same, that x will be equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, and x1 is 4 minus 4 by 2, this is 0 by 2, which is equal to 0, and y is equal to y1 plus y2 over 2, y1, that is 2 minus 3 by 2, which will give me minus 1 by 2, minus 1 by 2. So M2 xy equals to 0 and minus 1 by 2, and this is the second point, and it's the midpoint of diagonal. Second point and midpoint of diagonal, midpoint of which diagonal, students? BD. And now from 1 and 2, do observe them carefully. From the 1 and 2 we can see both the midpoints of both the diagonals are same. So what we can say is, as the midpoints of the diagonal are same, hence the diagonals bisect each other. Hence as the midpoints of both the diagonals, as the midpoints of both the diagonals are same from 1 and 2. From who's telling us? From 1 and 2 they are telling us that the midpoint of both the diagonals are same. So what will happen? Diagonals bisect each other. So the diagonals of parallelogram bisect each other. I am going really slow so that my students can understand this question easily. I hope you are clear about this question. Please watch and understand this lesson for better understanding of the new lesson. Please watch my lessons, like, share and subscribe the channel, and press bell icon to get the notification of every lesson in time. Thank you very much.